Hey, welcome to the Young, Dumb, and In Love podcast, where we talk about building stronger and healthier marriages. I'm Julian.
And I'm Brittany, and we want to thank you for being a part of the conversation.
Hey, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review so that we can get more connected with you. Well, welcome back to Young, Dumb, and In Love. Hey, it's been kind of crazy. We've had people visiting. We went and visited Washington.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on in our world. So sorry that it's taken a little bit of time to get back on here, but we're excited to be back. Anyway.
Yeah.
But Brittany, I just wanted to say real quick that you are the most beautiful woman that I've ever known in my entire life. And
you better say that.
You don't ever think otherwise. Okay. So we've been I started this thing, and then because I need emotional support, my wife said I'll do it too. We've been doing this thing, and it's been fun and also challenging and super great. But we're basically I'm working out more and trying to get more healthy so that my family can have me for a really long time, and I can annoy them for the next 70 years. That'd be awesome. If not, I'll take 60. 65 would be great too. But
that probably seems more realistic.
Yeah.
I think you're older than you thought you were.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that I'm younger than I really am. But we've been doing this thing, and it's kind of fun. It's just one of those random, people have told me this a million times. My brother-in-law works out and is like in super great shape, kind of looks like Captain America. I saw him with his shirt off the other day, and I was really mad. I just got mad, and I'm like, you're kidding me. You're kidding me, right?
Well, he works out harder than you.
Oh, he does. Absolutely. And so I decided I want to look like that. I want to look like that. When I take off my shirt and we go to the pool, my wife looks at me. I want her to be like, dang, boy.
I already do.
I know, but next level. You do, probably more because you love me. And it's unconditional love. But I want that.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
I know. But I got the ultimate dad bod, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just really working through this.
I can't agree with anything you're saying. I just have to go. No,
I know.
Because that would be rude.
So been intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting, yep.
Yep, and 16 hours of no eating. And then eating tons of protein, working out every day, counting my calories, just really trying to get rid of this belly fat that I've had for a really long time. Yep. I'm what you call skinny fat. I'm not fat. I'm skinny fat. I'm skinny all around. Literally, I have nothing. It's just skin and bones and muscle. And then my belly just has just this thing, So I've been trying to work on that for quite a while now. And I feel like this is the time. This is the moment. And this is the time where you're going to look at me the next time you see me with my shirt off next summer. Not now.
The next time, today.
Yeah, today you'll see my shirt off and it won't look any different. But next summer, I'm telling you, I'm going to walk outside with confidence.
Do you know how many times you've told me you're going to have a six-pack? I'm just asking.
How long we've been married?
16 years.
I've told you 16 times. Probably more than that. Probably, let's double that.
You've told me way more than even that.
Let's go with 32.
I'll give you that.
Maybe 100.
I think probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a six-pack by whenever.
Yeah. Well, the struggle is real. And
it's okay.
I'm on point now. I'm on point.
No.
I feel really good. I just got done eating my chicken, so I feel pretty good. My first meal of the day, so very excited about it. But hey, we talked a few weeks ago about why marriages don't last. Yeah. And today we're going to be continuing that conversation and we're kind of just going through each subject. And the last time we talked and met up and talked, we talked about sex, and it was a very interesting couple weeks after that, because the amount of comments and what people are saying, actually, it doesn't blow my mind because I'm not surprised by anything anymore these days. But the amount of people, especially on TikTok, my gosh, they are so brutally honest, and we're giving tips on how to be good and how to we want people to
how to communicate well.
Yeah, be successful in their marriages.
Yeah.
And we're getting comments and that's why you never get married, just have your side hoe. I'm like, what? Where did that even come from? That has nothing to do.
I actually didn't even know someone put that.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah. It's been real. We have so many comments. Crazy. But then there's also a ton of comments. I posted one where I was just writing you a love letter, just talking about, hey, just love your wife.
Yep.
Very simple. It doesn't need to be hard. And that thing like blew up, and so many comments and interactions. And the number one thing from that people were saying was like, oh, this is so sweet. But the other side of things was, I really wish my husband could just get that. I really wish my wife could just get that, like just back and forth.
Yeah, but like women want to be loved.
They do.
Period.
100%.
That's like their ultimate desire is love.
Yeah. And we were just talking about that too. Just like, the way men want to be loved and women, we're going to talk about that in another podcast. But, yeah, I mean, people just forget that this really is simple. It just takes work.
Can be. Yeah.
It takes work. So yes, the task and what it is a simple thing, but it's very hard to do it because you have to do it consistently every single day. And that's why
task? What's the task?
Well, the task of loving your spouse.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about sex.
Nah,
the task,
that too.
Every day. I was like,
you need to do
calling
that.
it a task?
Yes, that needs to be done every day.
That's
okay.
literally what I thought you were talking about.
Every day.
I was like, wow.
Every day. No, but yeah, I mean, but it takes work, and people are talking about how it just doesn't happen. And so for us, that's why we're here. We want to help people realize that they can have a good marriage like we do. And our marriage isn't perfect. We fight. We have our issues. We have our things that we go through. But we also have things in place to help us safeguard and keep us where we should be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about lack of trust. And so I have notes. You'll see me glance down.
Yeah.
That way I don't get too far. We don't get too far off.
Yeah. Well, you have
task.
me to
Chatty Cathy over here.
Get us on a rabbit trail. So.
But trust is, and the first thing I wrote down was it's hard to gain and it's easy to lose.
Yep. So true.
True. And I think that probably one spouse is more trusting than the other.
Yep.
Would you say?
That's me. Yep.
Yeah. Like I'm not naturally trusting. My personality.
Yeah.
You're less trusting, and past experience too makes me probably less trusting. And Julian wants to see the good in everyone and everything.
Yeah.
I see the good in people too.
For sure.
But I think, but it's hard to gain and easy to lose. And then I wrote, trust makes your spouse feel safe and secure in your marriage and will bring out their best self.
Yep.
So trust makes your spouse feel safe and secure in your marriage and will bring out their best self.
Yeah.
When you feel like you or me, when I feel safe and secure in our marriage, I am my best self.
So true.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's so
it
true.
gives me freedom to be who I am.
Yep.
I don't have to be insecure or whatever it may be. And really that comes a lot with trust.
Yeah.
I trust you. You are doing what you say you're going to do. I trust that you have my best interest in mind.
Yep.
And it also helps because if I trust you, then I can give you the benefit of the doubt. I can give you grace because I trust that you're doing your best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, what do you
Well,
think?
I love what you just said. I trust that you're doing your best. Now, trusting isn't saying that your person is perfect.
No.
That's not what we're saying at all.
No, definitely not.
So trusting that they are doing their best is probably like the best way to explain having trust for somebody, because a lot of times in marriage, we want them to change or we want them to do a certain thing. And sometimes you just need to love them enough and trust them enough that they're going to do their best and give their all, and so, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to the trust and security that you feel when you trust me, now it's not like you don't trust me, but because you trust me, you feel security. Like, for instance, small things. This has nothing to do really with relationship, but it has everything to do with it at the same time. Locking the doors at night, making sure windows are shut and locked, and making sure the oven is off, and you kind of have like this checklist of things.
I'm a little OCD, a lot OCD.
You're a lot OCD.
I mean, let's
be real.
So I want the doors checked.
Yep.
I want the
oven off checked, and lights off. Just
alarm on.
You want everything. You want no room for mistake. Right. Basically. Yes. Like that's what you desire. But you've expressed it, and I've done my very best to make sure that I do those things.
So I trust that you do
so
it.
So we've gotten to the point where she can finally go, did you do this? Did you do that? And she'll ask me, no matter what. It doesn't matter how
I
long.
ask every day.
It doesn't matter how long we've
Every
been
day.
married. Every night we get in bed. Did you check the doors? Did you lock it? Did you set the alarm? Did you do this? Yes, babe. Yes. And if I didn't, I'll be like, no, I'll go do it right now.
Yeah.
But the thing is that because she trusts me now, we've gotten to this point, even though she asks me, and if I say yes, she goes, okay. And she tends to just say okay and trust me, but it took a long time for that to happen. I mean, let's be honest though. You have reason not to trust me in that area because there's been times where we were in Bible college and I left.
My gosh.
I left and we're not, the Bible college wasn't like in the safest neighborhood. Like it was in, some would say,
not the best,
not the best area,
we don't
right?
need to be too specific.
It's not the best area. And I leave the
There's
front
a lot
door.
of bad things that happen in the area.
I leave and the front door gets left open.
It wasn't just unlocked.
While she's sleeping.
Open.
So
I wake up. These are the days I could actually sleep in. I don't know what happened because now I can't sleep in to save my life.
I'm like, please God, sleep more.
9 or 10. I don't know. I got up. I walk out. There's just like a 1-bedroom, really small apartment. I walk out. The front door is wide open. I'm like, that is so weird. Julian? Like he should be at work. He left for work probably at 6:30 or 7.
Yeah.
Oh no, he just left the door. I mean, maybe it was cracked at the time, but by the time
I probably tried to shut it, but I didn't check it. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
That's why he has to check the doors because he will leave them open.
But over time, I've learned how important it is to you.
It's very important to me.
So,
it is like foundational for me.
For sure.
Because I want to feel safe
It should
and secure.
be.
Yeah.
Locking your doors at night, you should totally lock your doors at night. That's not even like an issue.
Yeah,
but
if you don't lock your doors at night, then
but there's things that we have that we've had to learn over time and really earn the trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if I go somewhere and I don't go somewhere, if I say I'm going to go somewhere and then I don't go there, that's a lack of trust. That's a red flag, right?
Yeah.
But if I am constant, or if I'm continually doing the right thing by going somewhere and saying I'm going to be there and still going there and letting you know and communicating, the trust is built super fast and you're able to go, okay, he always says what he does and does what he says. Like,
it's integrity.
That's
Yeah. Well, and I wrote, be where you say you are. Mm-hmm. Do what you said you're going to do. Mm-hmm. And be with who you said you'd be with.
Yeah.
That way there leaves like no room for doubt. Yep. And I would say Julian wasn't always like, not on purpose. Like I'm an over communicator.
Yeah.
Like I will say, hey, just got in the car, heading home, be home in 45 minutes. Or I'll like do a quick phone call or whatever. Because I just want to make sure, like, okay, I said I was going to do this and this is what I'm doing, And I think that women, we just tend to be like more communicative, even just because we like to talk about it.
And I'm super chill. Like,
and
whatever,
Julian would just like not check on me for like hours. I'd be like, do you not care if I'm like missing? He's like, no, you're gonna be fine. It's fine.
I'm like working. I'm doing stuff, right?
Just like being where he said he would be, and then he'd be like, oh, like I'd call him and he'd be out for lunch just with guys, never with anyone. But I'd be like, oh, you could have told me. And not because I'm like possessive, but I'm like, I want to know who you're with. And when you're married, you have a right to know that.
Absolutely.
I have a right to know who he's with, where he's at, and why he's doing it.
Absolutely.
Like there shouldn't be secrets. But I think, now I don't even worry about, he'll like tell me and I'm like, cool. Like, but it's important to know like, hey, I'm going here with this person because of this, not out of control, but out of respect.
Yeah.
It's a respect issue. Like you respect your spouse enough to honor the commitment you made to them, which is that they're your number one.
It's true.
And when you're not with who you said you'd be with, that's a problem.
It's a red flag.
And
well, and from my side, at the very beginning, when you would say, don't you care? Or where are you? Why didn't you tell me? Like at first, like, I'll be honest with you, like my mind went to the place like, why doesn't she just trust me? Like, what's the big deal? Like, and then I did feel like she wanted to be controlling, and I did feel, so like that perspective, if I would have just realized that she just wanted me to communicate with her, it has nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah.
All she wanted was communication. I took it as she wants control, when that's not the case at all. She just wants to know what I'm doing. She just wants to know what's going on in my life. I work a job that she's not at. and she's at home and she's taking care of other things, and she just wants to know that she's loved. And instead of me asking, like, why do you want to know these things? I just assumed that she wanted to have control over me. And, and that, I guarantee you this happens in so many marriages.
Yeah.
And they just fight and they argue. And that's why a lot of people end up not being married anymore, because there's this lack of trust. But it really has to do with a lot with communication and communicating with each other. And so once I learned that she just wants to know what's going on and where I'm at, and only just for a couple things, for safety, because back then we didn't have, trackers on our phones.
It's just crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
But she would text me and I would tell her, and she would be kind of upset that I didn't tell her. And I'm like, what a big deal. It's not a big deal. But now that I know, it's because she just needed for me to communicate so that she knows I'm safe, because she wants to know that I'm thinking about her during the day.
Yeah.
It's different things like that, which I think about her 24/7. I mean, let's be honest. I do all the time. That doesn't mean I'm going to text her 24/7,
Right.
But, a text here, text there, I love you, just those sweet little things make a huge difference. And it's just being communicative in what we do.
Yep. Well, and I think too, one of the things that you were saying is that you thought I was trying to be controlling. And I think that and it could have been, honestly, this is going to sound bad, I don't necessarily remember being distrusting towards you, but are the feelings, like, I think that you can ask yourself, like spouses, you can ask yourself this, are the feelings of mistrust that I have, are they self-inflicted or are they warranted? And so what I mean by that are, like, sometimes I think we're mistrusting towards our spouse, even though our spouse hasn't necessarily given us a reason to be mistrusting, but something in our past causes us to be distrusting.
Yeah.
So for me, Julian never gave me a reason to
not
mistrust him or be distrusting of him. Is mistrust a word?
Yeah, mistrust.
Or is it distrust? Honestly, I don't know.
Yep.
But you know
mistrust.
What I'm saying. I didn't have that. But see, I grew up where there wasn't always open communication, and there was lies and sneakiness when it came to being with who you were supposed to be, and I think then those obviously plant seeds of doubt. And even as a child, so then you get married and you're like, oh, I feel a little like I'm not really being very trusting, but not because he did anything, but because it's something that kind of was planted in me. And so I think it's important to share that with your spouse. Like, hey, like, you didn't do anything, but for some reason I'm having a really hard time trusting you. And I can't really figure out why. And it probably is rooted in something that happened before.
Yeah. Most of the time. Yep.
But yeah. So just kind of remembering, like, is this, or thinking to yourself before you maybe have like a confrontational conversation, like, is this something they did to cause me to feel this way? Which if they did, then yes, of course, confront that, have that conversation. Or man, maybe this is something that was planted in me a long time ago, But yeah.
Well, and that's why we suggest, like, hey, if you really had like a crazy past in your life and then you get married, or maybe the two of you have really big issues that you've been dealing with, like, it's always good to get counseling to help you discover these things. If you can't discover it on your own and figure it out together and have honest, open conversation where you can understand each other, gosh, go get counseling and put yourself in an environment where you can truly learn what's really going on, because the issue is never really the issue. There's always something deeper that is causing the ripples in your relationship. And it's something way down low. And if you can discover what that is and work on that, all the small things on top, they're not going to fall away, but you're going to be able to deal with them a lot better and faster.
Yeah. Which I feel like, I feel like since we've been doing this, it's almost been like Young, Dumb, and in Love, and really diving into, communicating and marriage, and what does it really look like, and do we really do the things that we say that we do? It's helped us even navigate our conflict and our if we had distrust or whatever. This one, and this is we both probably have stories, but tell them even what seems like no big deal. For example, like if someone texts you, even if it's the wrong number.
Oh, you're not going to tell that story, are you?
I'm going to tell it in a very I don't know.
It's fine. Tell the story
in a PG way. PG-13.
Just tell it. PG-13.
PG-13. I'm not going into the whole thing.
You're not going to all the detail. Okay.
I literally cannot know that the world knows that what I saw. So anyway, we live in Arizona, so we swimming in our pool one day and
just enjoying the sun.
But you can't have your phone outside because
it overheats.
It's way too hot.
It overheats.
So I go and grab my phone because I think I had like some work. So I was checking in every few minutes, and I pick up my phone, and it's a number I don't recognize, which isn't uncommon because in my line of business, I'm a real estate agent also. So I'll get texts and phone calls from people I don't know. Like, okay, so I swipe and I see like, oh, hey, so-and-so, so great to see you this weekend. And I'm thinking, I was like home this weekend. I have no idea who this is. And I scroll and there's a picture of something that I definitely did not see in real life. And I'm embarrassed even retelling the story.
It's funny.
Because we talk about it often, actually, and we always laugh.
We joke about it, yeah.
And so I'm like, the text is alluding that I
had been,
not me, but whoever this person is trying to text, that they spent the weekend together, and then the picture was of
their private parts.
And I wanted to burn my phone, and
awful.
I didn't even know I can't even talk.
Yeah.
I literally was like, oh my gosh. And I just felt I felt like, what's the word? Violated. Because I'm like, it was innocent. I'm just checking my phone. I didn't like go looking for this picture. It just,
it came to her.
It came to me, and they called me the wrong name and everything. So,
but it was a 253 number.
The number they were trying to text,
the number they were trying to text,
close
so obviously
to mine,
it was close
and they
to
used
yours,
a different name, obviously, because I was not the one there.
Yep.
And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, and not even thinking anything of it, but I went straight to Julian and I was like, here, before I delete this, like, I just want you, I do not want to be the only person who has to live with this image
in my head,
because
thanks,
it's
Britt.
not fair. And I'm like, look at this text. And then I was like, please, just like, we need to delete this. So Julian's like, well, we should probably text him and tell him it's the wrong number so you don't get any more of those.
We don't want any more of those pictures.
So I just said, we deleted it, and then I texted back and then deleted the feed. I just was like, sorry, wrong number. He was horrified. Never texted me after that. He was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he responded horrified.
I'm so sorry. And then that was it. But it's like, I could have just like kept it or deleted it and not told Julian, but then I would have had to live with that, like, whatever. So instead I just was like, this is what it is. Obviously it's not meant for me. This is horrifying.
It's the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, man.
Sometimes I wish he wouldn't have shown me.
So sometimes we laugh just because we're like, how does this even happen? But I say that because sometimes the seemingly small things, these little tiny things, they can become a big deal if we don't just go to each other right away. And
well, because could you imagine if she kept it or like didn't delete it or didn't tell me, and then I found out somehow, and I'm like,
or he saw it and he was like, why do you have this, or whatever.
Like if that opportunity,
even though it wasn't even my fault.
Yeah, it wasn't her fault, but still, like if she didn't like think about it or whatever, like there could have been an opportunity for that, right? But instead she chose to just, hey, this happened, here it is, and she just puts it in my face and lets me deal with it with her. Where she could have done it on her own and not said a thing to me. And that to me would be more suspicious than her just coming to me. You know what I'm saying? But it made a huge difference because immediately I was like, oh wow, let's respond. Let's take care of this. This is definitely not okay. And never ever get a text message like that again.
I think though too, like, and that one is more of, that was
so
like unintentionally, like is actually sent to the wrong person. But even sometimes it's like a text maybe, that you're like, man, this really isn't a big deal, but I want you to know, like, hey, I texted with so-and-so today. And it could be about work, but just because, if that person's like of the opposite sex and you think, man, if they see this, they might think something else. And I think something to always think about is if you feel like you need to delete that text feed or you need to be secretive about it, that is a red flag you need to think of for yourself.
Immediately.
Why do I feel like when this person texts me, I should flip my phone over? Or why do I feel like when this person calls me, I should leave the room?
Yeah.
We talk about how openness leads to wholeness, and when you are open with each other, you're going to have such a better relationship.
So true.
And
That's
so
I she set such a great example for situations like that. Cause even what was it last week? Even last week,
oh yeah,
we were in Washington.
Phone.
I got a text to my phone from a number that is 253 because we have 253 area codes, and I get this text and I was like, what the heck?
I was like,
and
a girl.
It's kind of spicy from a girl, and she's like,
Kinda
hey,
spicy?
She was like, hey, can't wait, or
Wait
I
to
totally
see you,
miss
Daddy,
you.
or
Can't wait to
something?
see you again, Daddy. And I was like, what the heck?
That's
We're
so
sitting there and I
nice.
just go, hey, Britt, look at this. And I just show her and she's like, what in the world is happening?
Who does this?
And and I could have chose in that moment. I have a decision to make. I have the decision to say, well, I could keep this and, she doesn't need to know about it. And I could look at this picture, stuff like that. Like that, those thoughts could go through your mind and that could be something that you do. Or you could just go, nope. And I always would tell our students when we were youth pastors, I was like, hey, listen, when the enemy comes and he wants you to do something, just turn around and flee. Just flee. If you just run and be ridiculous and run from the temptation of whatever it is in your life, just run. Just be ridiculous and run from it. And I really feel like that goes hand in hand with temptation in your marriage and anything that you're going through. If there's something that feels that it should not be there, something like that, man, just run the opposite direction and don't even open the door, because once you open the door, you've chosen your side. That's what we say that all the time. But once you open the door to whatever it is, you've chosen your side. You've decided to let in whatever it is.
Well, we talk about once you've compromised, you've chosen your side.
Yeah.
If you compromise a little bit, it's so easy to think, it's just little, it's just innocent, it's nothing, But I think if you talk to spouses that have eventually ended in infidelity or, traveled down that road, it was seemingly innocent to begin with. It was a Facebook message. It was an Instagram DM. It was, she just was really nice to me at the gym, or he gave me attention here. It's not always, it's honestly probably most of the time not intentional.
Yep.
It's a very innocent, small thing.
Yeah.
But once you've compromised, you've chosen your side. And the same, it's like a door, the door, if you leave it closed and locked and you say, no, this is not going to be a thing, then it stays that way. But if you crack the door a little bit, if the wind comes, that door is going to blow open.
I know. We were just watching Legos the other day. And I don't know if you remember this, but the Lego movie 2, Lego movie 2 with our girls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly it right there. The little star was stuck in the door and it was like, please help me. Yeah. Please help me. And little Emmett was like, I have to help her. He literally goes, psh, psh, opens the door like that. The enemy's in.
Yeah.
And that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I've been trying to say.
But it's true. And I think it's it might seem innocent. And that's why we do tell each other right away. And I wouldn't say either of us has ever been tempted to take any of that innocent stuff to the next place, but it doesn't even allow it to be there.
No.
And it's okay, so hey, and we don't have, we have friends who are, couple friends. That's what we call them, couples friends, and we may talk to, he may talk to the wife, not alone, but it's
we're totally friends.
It's
we're totally friends.
There's
though.
always an openness of me and so-and-so talked about this, not one-on-one texting, but just, it's never even a question. Mm-hmm. It just can't be a question. You can't leave it up for negotiation, and one thing, and I think that trust is so beautiful and unique because it's something that really at the end of the day, the only absolute perfect trust comes from God.
Yeah. So
trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And we know that the word talks about that, and that people are mere humans.
Yeah.
So we can't expect our spouse to always not be trustworthy, but to always fulfill something in us that is not meant for them. Yeah. And sometimes there might be little things, but we need to be able to extend grace,
Right.
and then communicate to each other. Hey, when you did this, it made me think this. And I know that wasn't your heart or your intention, but it made me think that. And I don't know why, but can we talk about that? Or, if your wife is always like, hey, who's that? Who's that? Don't always think that she's trying to control or be annoying. She needs security. She needs to know you love her. Oh, hey, babe, it was so-and-so. See, we're just talking about whatever. And if you find that to be annoying, then you need to really work and have some grace with your spouse. If them asking you, hey, who was that, is annoying you, you need to check yourself.
Yeah.
Because that is your spouse and it should just always be open. Now,
True.
if you feel like, yeah, you know what, maybe I'm actually controlling, not just mistrusting.
Yeah.
I'm actually controlling, then you need to really check that too,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so real. And what you're just saying, just having that openness with each other. So the enemy, I mean, anytime there's temptation, anything, man, like I said, keep that door shut, lock it up. Don't even let them in. Don't even crack the door open. Right. But with your spouse, we need to be living our lives and our marriage with them with an open door and open door policy, And so what I mean by that is, man, if Brittany grabs my phone and looks at it, I'm not going to ask her why or what is she doing. I don't care. I got nothing to hide. That's the kind of mentality that we want to have with each other, where we can truly just grab each other's phones. And I can literally go through her phone right now and look at all her texts. I can go through her Instagram, look at her DMs, her Facebook. I could do that, and it would do nothing to her. And I know that's because she has nothing to hide. And when you have nothing to hide, that's the way it works with your open door.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing there so there shouldn't be any guilt or hiding that should be happening when that happens, And so having that open door with each other, being honest, is probably one of the most important things for us.
Well, and when you have that foundation of trust, it honestly is going to help in every other area. It's going to help you in your intimacy. It's going to help you in your communication. It's going to help financially, because you're just going to be trusting of that person. If they say hey, I think we should buy this, you're going to be like, oh, great, I trust you. Go ahead. Instead of well, why? Why do you think we need to do that? When there's mistrust, it kind of just can infiltrate every area.
For sure.
And then the conversations kind of come from an angle of that, know?
Yep.
Well, why are you doing that? Why do you spend your time doing that? Why are you doing that? And so a lot of that is rooted in being not having trust.
Yeah. And you said something that I want to kind of go back to real quick is, you said when you have a conversation with your spouse. So you said, I want to come to them and say, hey, when you said this, it made me feel this way. And I know you didn't mean for it to feel that way, but this is how it made me feel. That's probably one of the key things I wish every couple could learn when it comes to communicating what's going on. Because a lot of couples will just go to them and be like, why did you say this? This is crazy. What's wrong with you? And they would attack what they're trying to say rather than have the conversation.
Yeah.
And when you open up with, hey, could we talk about this? You said this. This is how it made me feel. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you didn't mean to do that. When you have that kind of, what that does, it sets me up for success, because and it sets you up for success too, because you're saying, hey, I saw something you were texting. This is how it made me feel. I know it's not nothing, or I know it's not anything, but this is how it made me feel. And talk to me about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, totally. Then I can show you and be like, yeah, just talking about, the next video shoot or whatever. We can truly just show you what's going on. Instead of you assuming and attacking, right. You're asking the question with the vulnerability of saying, this is how it made me feel. It's probably not real. Walk me through it.
Yeah.
And when you go that route, it's a huge difference between how I'm going to respond to you. Because if you respond to me and you come to me and you start pointing the finger and attacking me, saying, why are you talking to her? And what's this and what's that? There's going to be an issue, especially if I'm not actually doing the thing,
Yeah.
So at the very beginning, you said that trust is really hard to gain. and really easy to lose.
Yes.
So how do we gain trust? Like we've talked about a few of those things throughout this entire thing, but what are some key things that someone can implement today to gain trust with their spouse and start to build a foundation where they can truly just live in freedom with each other, knowing that they can trust each other?
I mean, I think one, I would say if there has been a reason for them to be mistrusting of you, you need to ask for forgiveness and apologize.
Spot on.
You know, and that will show that you want to have an opportunity to rebuild that trust.
It's good.
But ask for forgiveness. Hey, you know what? I know that when this happened, I broke trust with you.
So true.
And I want the opportunity to rebuild that. And that will show so much, you know, of your heart. So number one, I would say if you're in that place, ask for forgiveness, apologize to your spouse. Or, you know, if there's something that you are hiding, then you need to
just
decide how you're going to uncover that.
Yeah.
You know, and so I would say ask for forgiveness, definitely.
Yep.
And two, go ahead.
What about the other spouse though? So say I'm the stubborn one and there's no way I'm ever going to apologize to you for something I didn't even feel like was a big deal, right? Because I'm stubborn. So how would you open that door? Like how would...
If I was the one who needed to apologize?
No, if I'm the one, I'm the one who needs to apologize. You're the one, and you know I'm never going to.
I know the same thing, you know, like, hey, like I'm sorry that this feels like we're struggling in this and I don't want to anymore, you know.
What can I do?
Yeah, what can I do? How can I help you navigate this? How can I help you open up, you know? And actually, even just I'm reading another book now, it talks about like sometimes the one who's maybe a little bit more mature in their communication has to be the one to make the first step.
Yeah.
I'm not going to point any fingers, but I would say
okay.
that for the most part,
I apologize first. I know. That's why I tried giving the example. Like
in the
I'm
beginning,
the one.
though.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Oh, beginning.
Not so much now.
I avoided conflict like it
not
was.
In like I'd be like,
plague.
okay, but yeah, that's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Anyway, so one, forgive. You know, have that conversation. Two, start just like living open. Like think to yourself, what areas am I not being open with my spouse?
Yeah.
Like, is it hiding things on my phone? Is it maybe like leaving the room when, you know, like I said, when someone calls, or attention you're getting from someone somewhere, like at work or at the gym, that is maybe not, you know, appropriate, whatever that is. So start being more open, you know?
So true.
What else would you say?
I mean, again, just the communication, like I would say, like set aside time every single week for you guys just to catch up, talk about what's going on, ask them. And I would even go as far as, hey, what can I do better to serve you? You know, what's something that you need from me to help you be successful in our marriage? And having that kind of communication, and then not just asking and then them telling you and you never doing anything about it, but like actually like doing those things, you know, like, hey, I could really use your help. Could you like start taking out the trash, you know, stuff like that, like whatever it is. Communicate those things and then act on them.
Well, and I think like on that, so like another thing you could start doing is start communicating with your spouse, even what seems like seemingly small. You know, like, hey, running to the grocery store, can I get you anything? Oh, hey, going to lunch with the guys, you know, today, like if you're at work. Thinking about you, just wanted you to know where I'm at. That way, if she looks at your location, she goes, why is he at whatever restaurant? You know, who's he with? See, instead it's, oh, I open my text. Oh, look, Julianne's at lunch, you know, with so-and-so at so-and-so place. Oh, I check his location. Oh yeah, that's where he is. So then there's that leaves like no area, like gray area. It's like, he said he's going to be here and he is there, you know? And so just starting those like little communication, you know, and wives too, like, hey, thinking of you, you know, just we're hanging out at home today. Hope you're having a good day at work. And whatever it is.
And most of the guys out there, it's not one size fits all, but most guys probably don't even need that. Like every once in a while, I'm like, I haven't heard from her in a while, you know, because she's an over communicator though. But they probably don't need it, but still do it.
How long?
That's the thing though. Like even if they don't need it, you should probably just still do it. Say you're the one who's an over communicator. Teach me how to do it by doing it. I think that's a good example of learning how to do something is by you doing it because and showing the way.
Yeah. And so I would say those things, and then just work on it every day. Yeah. Just, Yeah.
And like I said earlier, be an open book. You have to just be willing to share everything with your spouse. Not that I think that's really just for you to create a culture of trust in your house, having access to your phones, having access to bank accounts, having access to whatever it is, because you need to live openly with your spouse so that there is no room for question in your marriage. The more your spouse knows, the less they're going to wonder.
That's pretty, so good.
It's pretty simple,
Yeah.
And
look at you coming out with the little one-liners.
Thank you.
The more they know, the less they wonder.
But literally, if they don't know much or you're not communicating, they're going to wonder.
Well, then it leaves room for things to go in their mind that aren't true. Because when you wonder, you start making things up in your head.
Make things,
Well, I do at least.
Our minds go crazy.
What if
places.
this? What if that? What if this? And then all of a sudden you're oh, and none of it's true.
So true. That's so true. Well, once again, just remember, we're not professionals here. We're not counselors or anything like that. But what we are is we've been married for a while, and we've been through a lot of things, and we want to share our experiences with you. So if you haven't already, make sure you comment below. We want to hear from you. What are some things you want to know about marriage that will help you move forward and have a successful marriage? And if you haven't already too, subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the podcast. We want you to be involved more with what we're doing here. And don't miss another episode. Thank you so much.